If you go on the internet and read stuff about the Detroit Lions, there is some crazy stuff out there.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening, everybody? Matt Derry with you on a Friday edition of Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today is Friday, April 18th, Good Friday, and early happy Easter, everybody, into Saturday, April 19th. Hope everybody's doing well, enjoying this beautiful weather here on this Friday edition of Locked On Lions here in Southeast Michigan. Thanks for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Please subscribe if you have not, and check us out on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. We appreciate all of you that check us out daily. Those, like we like to call them, everydayers that watch or listen to the podcast daily. We thank you. One of our everydayers today will be our call of the day. If you want to be a call of the day and be on the show, leave a voicemail at speakpipe.com/Derry, D-E-R-Y, podcast page. Coming up on the program today, if you missed Trevor Sikkema back on Wednesday, he was phenomenal talking draft. Yesterday, we recapped what Brad Holmes had to say. Go back and check out the shows that you missed this week. And next week, we are less than a week away from the draft, folks. Next week, tons of draft coverage. Will be on Thursday night with a fresh pod right after the Lions pick at 28th or wherever they pick in the first round. And we are certainly excited about that. I got to get into silly season. You know, there's some days that I prepare for the show, and I'm reading every website I can. I'm checking out Justin Rodgers, Detroit Football Network, and Dave Burkett, and Ben, and Nolan, and the whole crew. Everybody that covers a team does a great job. I've shouted out Pride of Detroit numerous times. Jeff Risdon, Lions Wire. Lions coverage is great in this town. Today I Googled Detroit Lions because you never know what you're going to miss out there. And we're going to get to the Aaron Rodgers thing. I want to talk about it. We're going to get to what if the Lions took a safety at 28. But I got to start with this. When you Google Detroit Lions, sometimes you find some of the stupidest ish of all time. If you recall months ago, I told you that I Googled Jared Goff, and there was some silly website that had a trade proposal of Jared Goff going to the Jets to be reunited with Aaron Glenn, and the Lions were going to go with Hendon Hooker. It was some of the stupidest stuff you'll ever see. Today, I hit Sporting News, and I like Sporting News. I remember as a kid, I used to read the Sporting News all the time. I think it was a weekly publication. You know, their website was usually pretty viable. So today at sportingnews.com, I see this headline. Jameson Williams trade pitch pairs electric receiver with $262 million quarterback on AFC contender. Written by Daria Sharma. I don't know who that is. And I know we touched on it earlier in the week. Mike Payton from A to Z Sports, and Mike is an excellent writer, covers the Lions, used to be at Pride of Detroit. Mike Payton just threw it out there, not to be surprised if the Lions moved on from Jameson Williams and traded the very talented wide receiver on draft night. Mike's reasoning was he's likely going to be gone after 2 years anyway because they cannot pay him. He's going to command too much money. He's a really good player. The Lions have other issues to deal with. They've already publicly said, as we've discussed on this very show, Locked On Lions, been here since 2016, discussing on this very show that the organization has publicly said they need to get younger at wide receiver and are looking for one in this draft. I don't know if they're taking one at 28 or at 60 or at 102. I don't know. But we know they are looking for a receiver. They would like to get younger at wide receiver. You got Jamo, you got Amon-Ra, they're young guys. Tim Patrick's in his 30s. Khalif Raymond's in his 30s. They would like to get another young receiver in there. I don't believe they're going to trade Jameson Williams. But on Sporting News, they're doing a whole feature on it, a whole piece about it. Quote from the Sporting News, many teams would be interested in the former first-round pick, but last word on sports is Anthony Palacios, I don't know what that is, lists the LA Chargers as the top landing spot for Williams. So pairing Jamo with Justin Herbert is apparently a thing on the internet. It doesn't say in the article what the Lions would get back from the Chargers, but let me say it again. The Detroit Lions are trying to win a Super Bowl. The Detroit Lions have Jameson Williams under their team control this season, and if they pick up his option May 1st, next season too, 2025 and 2026. Why would you trade Jameson Williams now when he's finally seems to be maturing, 1,000-yard season last year, and he's ready to roll? I feel like Stu Feiner, ready to roll. No, we're not trading Jameson Williams. Could they trade Jameson Williams at this time next year? Yes, they could. Because he'll likely be playing his fifth year on the fifth-year option at around $20 million. And if they do draft a young receiver and that receiver shows out this year, maybe you don't need Jameson Williams. But for right here, right now, I don't think they're making that move. I just don't see it. This is a team trying to win, not trying to lessen their talent. So I'm like, all right, I'll spend a few minutes on that on the show and be done. No. I scroll down to the bottom of the article at Sporting News, and it says more Detroit Lions news. And I see an article that says Giants-Lions blockbuster trade proposal sends $31 million former top 5 pick to new home. So I'm like, sure. Clickbait city, baby. I'm in. Here it is. Giants-Lions blockbuster trade proposal sends $31 million former top 5 pick to new home by Bryce Lazenby. And in this article, he writes that courtesy of Mike Luciano of Sideline Report. I know Brad Behrman. I don't know Mike Luciano. And I've been on Sideline Report. He recently identified Giants edge rusher Kavon Thibodeaux as a realistic trade target for the Lions. The package that Luciano suggests is the Lions get Kavon and the Giants receive a 3rd-round pick, number 102. That's it? Yes. The Giants are going to trade Kavon Thibodeaux because they're going to draft Abdul Carter at 3, according to this. Like, what are we? If the New York Giants were willing to trade Kavon Thibodeaux for just a 3rd-round pick, wouldn't the Lions do that? Why would I think the Lions would do that, but why would the Giants do that? Luciano wrote, Thibodeaux, who has 21 sacks in 3 seasons, has been good but not great in the pros. Perhaps Detroit could be a spot where he figures it all out. The Giants land Abdul Carter. They wouldn't need Thibodeaux anymore. So I guess if you draft Abdul Carter, you just don't worry about the other side. This is the Giants team that also lost Azeez Ojulari in free agency. It is officially, with 6 days left before the draft, we have hit silly season. The New York Giants are not trading Kavon Thibodeaux to the Lions for just a 3rd-round pick. Maybe that is the market for Kavon now. He's not been great, but he also has a couple more years left in New York. I think they're trying to unlock him and get him to a level where he can be really good, because there are times in games, and I watch plenty of Giants games, where he looks great. Has he lived up to the hype of a top 5 pick? Probably not, but he's still a pretty good football player. And the Lions would have to be taking on that rookie contract of his and decide if they want to pick up a 5th-year option. I don't think any of this is happening. I think this is crazy. All of it. Jamo being traded. Lions are going to trade for Kavon. What's next? Throw it at me. I'll tell you what's next. Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show yesterday and told a crazy story that you're not going to believe what side I'm taking on this story. We will do that coming up next here on a Friday, a wacky, zany Friday, Locked On Lions. And Locked On Lions today brought to you by Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more, experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. All right. Looking for trying to find the right talent. If you need help with a marketing campaign, let's say, Upwork can connect you with one of their freelance experts who will deliver incredible results. All right. And it's cost effective as well. Visit upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com, upwork.com, to connect with top talent and grow your business. Do it today. We are here on a Friday, Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network. Matt Derry with you. Good luck to the Detroit Pistons, who will be playing their first playoff game in years. Saturday, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, prime time at MSG against the New York Knicks. Got to give a quick shout out as well to John Keating. I've seen a lot of people mentioning this. John Keating retiring from Bally Sports. He was behind the Bally Sports desk. I think he was at PASS too. He's been around 25, close to, I think it's 25, 30 years, handling all the studio work for the Tigers, the Wings, the Pistons, on Fox Sports Detroit, Bally Sports Detroit. John's a good guy, and we wish him the best. Last night was his final broadcast as the Red Wings choked again to end their season against the Maple Leafs. Are we rooting for the Maple Leafs? Do we want Toronto to do well? Or do we want them to continue to do what they do? I don't know. I'm kind of hoping maybe the Leafs make a run. Leafs lunch. Yes, there used to be a radio show in Toronto every day at noon, 365 days a year. Leafs lunch. All right. So many of you probably saw this yesterday on the Pat McAfee show. Aaron Rodgers, clean shaven Aaron Rodgers, went on the show and told the story of when he found out that he was no longer wanted by the New York Jets. This was like a month ago or so, a couple months ago. And Rodgers basically said on the Pat McAfee program yesterday, he flew cross country on his own dime to meet with the Jets at their facility. All right. And the meeting was cut very, very short as he was meeting with former Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn, now the head coach of the Jets, and the Jets general manager. At first, though, he was only in the room with Aaron Glenn, and Rodgers said when he got into the office, he sat down to talk to Aaron Glenn, and like 30 seconds in, Aaron Glenn walked out. So Rodgers thought that was a little strange. Then Glenn brings in Darren Moogie, the new Jets general manager, Moogie, whatever, Muggy, and brings him into the conversation. Apparently, Darren and Aaron were having a conversation. And then according to Rodgers, quote, I'm talking to the GM about something, and he, that being Aaron Glenn, and Aaron Rodgers never referred to Aaron Glenn as anything other than the coach. He leans into the edge of his seat and goes, so do you want to play football? Rodgers said, and I was like, yeah, I'm interested. To which Aaron Glenn allegedly responded, we're going in a different direction at quarterback. And that was it. Rodgers said he was shocked, not because that's a possibility, but shocked that he, flew all the way across the country. Why wouldn't you just pick up the phone and let me know that you didn't want me around? Rodgers confused by Aaron Glenn. Glenn then kept going and said, I don't want to be up in front of the room saying something and have guys looking back at you. Rodgers said, what is that supposed to mean? Are you assuming that I would be in the back of the room during the team meeting, undermining what you're saying? You don't know me. To which Aaron Glenn responded, "You don't know me." And Rodgers is like, "Exactly, which is why I flew all the way over here to meet with you face to face to talk about my experience with the Jets and hear your vision for the team." That was basically it. According to Rodgers, he thinks that Aaron Glenn and this whole meeting was Glenn going rogue because Rodgers claims he had better talks with some other members of the Jets. Quote, "I wasn't upset about it. I was surprised. I felt like there wasn't an ample amount of respect in that meeting, but I guess I shouldn't have been surprised based on some of the things I saw over 2 years." So Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Glenn go at it. Now, I am no Aaron Rodgers fan. I think Aaron Rodgers punked out on his teammates last year to miss a mandatory minicamp after you're the leader of the team. You're coming to the Jets. You're off of the Achilles injury, and you're going to skip mandatory minicamp with everybody else there because you want to go on some ayahuasca vacation and go overseas and do your Netflix special. Was weak. And it undermined then head coach Robert Saleh. That sticks your teammates under the bus and hangs them out to dry. We know that Aaron Rodgers' career in Green Bay was ended by the Detroit Lions and then their defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn. So maybe there's a little bit of, rivalry there. But I know what AG is trying to do with the Jets. We've talked about it. And Aaron Glenn did such a good job here in Detroit, and he was tough on the guys, but it was tough love. He was as respected as a defensive coordinator as there was. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I side with Aaron Rodgers on this. If Aaron Glenn is leaning in going, "You want to play football?" And Aaron Rodgers goes, "Yeah, I think so." And Aaron Glenn's response is, "We don't want you. We're moving another direction." Why would you ask if you want to play? Were you hoping that Rodgers would say, "I think I'm going to retire"? That's a bad look. I know what Aaron Glenn's trying to do. I commend Aaron Glenn for cutting the cord on Aaron Rodgers. No, nobody signed Aaron Rodgers yet. It's April 18th. But to fly him across, to tell him, "Hey, come on over, fly in and let's talk." And then not really talk. And AG said, "You don't know me," and kind of got into it with him. Like, I don't think that's a very good look for a head coach trying to make a first impression. Now, again, I agree with the decision. You don't want him around. But leaning into the chair and saying, "We want to play football," and then Rodgers says, "Yeah," and then he goes, "Yeah, we don't want you anyway," and then talking about how it's going to look with the media and how it's going to look to the team if you undermine them. I don't know. I know Aaron Glenn's keeping it real, but on this one, Rodgers is right. Pick up the phone and call him and go, "Hey, there's no discussion. We've decided to move on." And then that's it. What are you bringing him in for? Why are you getting up 30 seconds into the meeting and walking out of the door to go get the GM? Why wouldn't you have said, "Oh, you know what? Let me go get Darren, our GM. I'll be right back." It sounds like Glenn just walked out. Now, again, Rodgers might not be telling the whole truth because we know Aaron Rodgers stretches the truth, but not a good look for Aaron Glenn at all. All right, real fast. There has been some talk. We've talked about the Lions at 28 getting an offensive lineman, a new starting guard. We've talked plenty about the Lions snagging an edge rusher to go opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. We have even discussed receivers at number 28 in the first round for your Honolulu Blue and Silver Gladiators. What would you think if I told you that Malachi Starks, the safety from Georgia, could be in play for the Leos? Starks is a really good football player. You've seen some of the safeties that have been drafted over the last couple of years. Kyle Hamilton is all world with the Ravens. Our own Brian Branch is tremendous with the Lions. Starks is really, really good. And talent-wise, on some boards, is a top 10 to 15 player. If he falls to 28 and Brad Holmes says, "I'm taking the best guy on our board," and if it's Malachi Starks, I think there will be some fans, you guys, and girls that will be scratching your head going, wait a minute, when's he going to be on the field and where? So you only put 11 defenders on the field. You've got Brian Branch. You've got Kirby Joseph. You've got your 2 starting safeties right here, right now. There's no guarantee that Kirby Joseph is going to re-sign with the Lions after this year. They could franchise tag him. He could hold out for more money. The Lions could say, that's too rich for us. And then Starks would be the heir apparent. And you'd have him under team control for 4 more years if you pick up his 5th-year option. So keep an eye on Malachi Starks. I'm not saying that's where the Lions are going to go. It's not a name we brought up. But as far as safety depth and the Brad Holmes, I'm not drafting for need. I'm taking best player available. If he's there at 28, don't be surprised if the Lions grab him. Speaking of the Lions, Locked On NFL Mock Draft is out. Go to YouTube, go to wherever you get your podcast, type it in. You'll see my pick at number 28. I'm not going to reveal it on today's show, but you can find it. We're going to talk a lot about it on Monday, on Mock Draft Monday. I got a guy at 28 that nobody thinks is going to be at 28. Well, in the Locked On hosts mock draft, I got him at 28. We'll do that Monday right here on Locked On Lions. Call of the day is next. You know me, I love my Cleveland Guardians, and I watch my guys every night on my Amazon Fire Stick. Now, did you know that Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire Stick TV or Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and AvoEd as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. All right. They've got it all. Endless entertainment with 4K streaming. Watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribe services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. It's all there for you on Fire TV. I'm not a big gaming guy, but I know this. Fire TV provides gamers with great entertainment choices, as well as the opportunity to game and get started playing Xbox. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. All right, folks, we do this a couple times a week. We always love hearing from our listeners and viewers here on Locked On Lions, and it is time for our call of the day. If you want to be our call of the day, you can be that at speakpipe.com/Dairy Podcast page. Today, DP3 is our call of the day. Take a listen.
Hi, Matt. This is Dennis Pombier III. I'm calling from Jackson, Michigan. Listen to your show for a long time. Every day, love it. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate all the work you do. Wanted to ask you a question about the draft this year. With all the guys coming up that the Lions have to renew and re-sign, what do you think the chances are of them not wanting a first-round pick this year so that they don't have to pay that 5th-year option on another guy, thus meaning that they would trade back out of the first round? I think they could get a lot of value in the mid-30s of this draft and possibly add maybe a 4th round, another pick to where they could address the offensive line. So thanks a lot, Matt. Hope to hear myself on the pod. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, Dennis Pombier III, as he said, for chiming in today. I don't think Dennis is correct, though. I don't see a scenario unless the Lions look at that board at 28 and go, man, we can get our guy that we really want. You're right. 32, 33, trading back early in the second round and accumulating another pick. But I don't know if I necessarily think that's what they're going to do. Brad Holmes has said it, and he said it yesterday. It's more about quality players than quantity. Some teams, Cleveland, New Orleans, there's some bad teams that probably have a lot of needs and could use extra picks. Not seeing that with the Lions. I think Brad Holmes, if anything, is going to be trading up, not down, because I think he will identify certain guys that he really wants. And if it turns out they don't take 6, 7 players in the draft and it's more like 4 or 5, I think Holmes is okay with that. Dennis brought up the point about not having to pay a guy his whole rookie salary. The guys that first round picks get 4 years plus a 5th-year option from a financial standpoint, with players down the road wanting to get paid. Aiden Hutchinson's going to get an extension. Hopefully Kirby Joseph. You got to extend Branch, Laporta, Gibbs. I see what Dennis is saying, but I think Brad Holmes is living in the right here, right now. And that is, we're going to draft great players and guys that can help us right now win a Super Bowl now, and we'll deal with later. We'll deal with the salary cap later. They had planned with free agency this year because of what's down the road with those contracts. But I think the draft is different. I think Brad wants to add really good players, and I don't think he cares how he does it. So love hearing from Dennis. Thank you so much for doing that. We are back again Monday with Mock Draft Monday. John Macaroon from Lions on SI and Detroit Sports Podcast is going to join us next week as well, as he's been covering the Lions for a long, long time. We'll get John's thoughts on the draft and everything else. Folks, have a great Easter holiday weekend. Time with the family is always important and good, so I hope you guys enjoy that. We are back again Monday with Mock Draft Monday. We'll go over that Locked On Podcast Network, NFL channels mock draft where I drafted for the Lions. We'll do that Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody.